Bhante, could you tell us a little bit the differences between the Panya and Vinya and Sanya? The Pa and the V and Sa there.
You mean in terms of the significance of those?
Yes.
I don't know how much significance to attach to them. Okay, the prefix sung usually has the sense, sometimes it has the sense of bringing together. Like, for example, samadhi. Samadhi is like the collection, the bringing together of the mind. Samadhi. There's a word sandhi in Pali grammar. Sandhi means what happens when two letters come together, the way they affect each other. Gee, I wish I had a Pali dictionary. Yeah. Actually, there are four. There's parinya, which is full understanding, also has a prefix, pari. So pari definitely almost always suggests fullness. Not only parinya, we have paripura means full, paripuna complete, parisuddhi complete purification. Okay, the prefix V, like in vijnana, sometimes it suggests division, or separation, like viraga. It's the ending of raga. Raga is passion or lust. Viraga is dispassion. Vibhaga is analysis or division. Bhaga is a section. V is divide. So vibhaga is dividing into sections or analysis, or a portion that results from analysis. Vibhaga. And sometimes V merely strengthens the word to which it's attached. Like suddhi is pure, visuddhi also pure. Muti is free, vimutti is what we translate liberation. So in the case of vijnana, there's no explanation given, but I take the sense to be something like a clear and distinct knowing. I've seen some people, maybe this is sort of coming out of the the Mahayana, particularly maybe the Zen tradition, they say vijnana, of Sanskrit vijnana, is knowing with separation, with duality of subject and object, whereas prajna or panya is knowing without discrimination. But I don't see a basis for that in the Pali text. So I think vijnana is just a clear and distinct knowing. Though that's etymological, it doesn't mean that vijnana actually is always clear and distinct. And then the sung in front of sanya, it would be, sanya then would be literally like a comprehensive knowledge or a collective knowledge, a knowledge that collects together. But I wouldn't understand sanya in that way, the way the word is actually used, apart from the verbal derivation. You just have to see how the words are used in the context. Is that what you were?
Yeah, the reason I want to ask the distinction is because if the sentence says wisdom is to be developed, consciousness is to be fully understood, and it's a panya and vinya, and in between there's a vedana, the feelings, and then come with perception. Perception is a sanya. So I just thought. It's clearly I thought, clearly there is a understanding or deeper sense of between sanya and vinya. Sanya is based on what you just is perception.
Yeah.
So the knowing is less or is less or is less deep as vinya. That's what I thought, based on the understanding of today's class. But I'm not sure, so that's why I want to fully understand between all these prefix stands.
Yeah. The knowing of sanya,
Yeah.
you think, is less developed.
Is less developed knowing than vinya. That's what because vinya is related to consciousness.
Yeah.
Sanya is related to perception.
Yeah.
And perception is, from what I heard this morning, is basically you see the objects, the forms, and distinguish what the functions, the forms, and all the stuff. But vinya, from what I heard from this morning, is truly you not only you clearly understand the form and the function, you also understand in relate to wisdom, relate to feelings, and it's all together. So I thought vinya is a little bit deeper or more complete of a knowing. That's why I'm trying to understand the prefix there, why they use those words.
I wouldn't say that it's necessarily more developed or deeper than sanya. It's just that the functions are somewhat different. The way, again, because the texts don't really explain in any length the way they differ in functions, the way I understand it is that vijnana is sort of like the opening up of awareness through a particular sense modality, whereas sanya is what homes in on the object, what sort of singles things out and distinguishes and identifies, and labels and designates.
So can I ask you,
Yeah.
vinya is particularly opening a specific a consciousness, a specific awareness?
This is the expression I use rather than anything the text used, that it's the, you don't have to use opening, let's say it's the shining out of the light of awareness through a particular sense base, illuminating the whole field of objects that corresponds to that sense base. So it's eye consciousness, visual consciousness, that makes available the whole domain of visible forms, where it's perception that focuses in and then identifies that's a camera, that is a computer, this is a cup. That is the activity of perception, or sanya.
Thank you.
But I would think that consciousness only opens up selective domain.
Selective domain.
Yeah, not the entire domain, right?
In what way do you mean selective?
I just, even at the conscious level, I think I would just select what I really want to see. Not an objective entire domain corresponding to the eye faculty?
I don't know. Though I would think the work of selection seems to me to be more the work of sanya. But the two, they work together so closely that it's very hard to distinguish them. But I've just found this method that I explained works for me, and it seems, it's based on the fact that in the text, vijnana, consciousness, is distinguished according to the sense faculty through which it arises: eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. Whereas sanya, perception, is distinguished according to the object: form, sounds, odors, tastes, and so on.
Bhante, another question is, in later Buddhism, they have an expression like to transform consciousness into wisdom.
Yeah,
so in that state, I mean, according to early Buddhism, when consciousness in that stage is completely transformed, right? But that's not the case in early Buddhism. Even for an arahat, his consciousness and wisdom are, in a sense, still not the same. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
Even an arhat, even the Buddha, has vijnana, consciousness, and when they're exercising understanding, then panya has arisen. The idea of transforming vijnana into prajna, consciousness into wisdom, I think that starts, you don't even find it in early Mahayana. I think it comes in the Vijñapti Matrita school. That's the sometimes called consciousness-only school. Like the works of Asanga, Vasubandhu, where consciousness, even the functioning of consciousness, is taken to be an activity which is governed by ignorance. And so then when ignorance is eliminated, then vijnana gets transformed into a particular type of prajna, wisdom. And then they correlate the 8 consciousnesses with different types of prajna that arise. So the 8th consciousness turns into, I think they call it the all-pervading wisdom. The 7th consciousness, which discriminates self and other, turns into the wisdom of equality. The 6th consciousness, the mind consciousness, turns into, I think it's called the discriminating wisdom or reflective wisdom. And then the 5 types of sense consciousness get transformed into, I think it's called the all-accomplishing wisdom. Yeah, but that's, typical of a later phase of thought.
Thank you.
The sanya that which distinguished each of the things, so which much force for the craving or the desire or something, that's the prominent part.
Wait, keep the microphone near the mouth.
Then the perception which drive the persons to either craving or something like that, because it's distinguished with each item. Is that the major contribution for craving?
Contribution for?
Craving?
Failing. Craving. I see. Of course, perception and feeling together will both feed into craving. Because it's through perception that one distinguishes different objects. Yeah. And so when one distinguishes objects that one likes, that will stir up more craving. And when one experiences pleasant feelings through the object, then that will stir up craving.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the case. I mean, as one develops the mental control over one's mind, perception continues to function, feeling continues to function, but the perceptions and feelings don't stimulate craving.
Yeah, but the perception is much coming earlier than the feeling.
No, they come together.
Together, okay.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's come simultaneously.
They come simultaneously, though on some occasions it may seem that, well, on some occasions perception will be more prominent. But even when prominent perception is there, along with it, there'll still be a feeling. On other occasions, the feeling will be more prominent. But along with that feeling, there'll still be even a subtle perception. So they differ in intensity. But according to the sutta, they're always together at the same time. Inseparable. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bhante, consciousness can be faulty, right? I mean, I can see a man go by in a red robe and think, oh, it's Bhante, but I can be wrong. So
I would call that a mistake of perception rather than consciousness.
Really? So consciousness can't be faulty? I can't be wrong about something?
Well, you could say that the consciousness is faulty in a derivative sense, but it's, the way I understand this, it's primarily a mistake of perception.
Okay, because I'm trying to tie it together with seeing things as they really are, which I guess would be panya.
Let's see what the expression is. Yata bhuta jnana dasana ya. It's knowing and seeing things as they really are. So that's the function of panya rather than perception. Though perception will go along as a basis for panya.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. I'm just curious with the sentences, why they repeat, like, one is unwise, one who is unwise. Is that the way they spoke at the time?
You mean repeating each of...
Yeah.
That seems to be the style of expression in those days.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the explanation.
Okay.
It's just the way of speaking.
Because I know, like in Shakespeare plays, things are worded certainly for the act, so the actors can remember things. You know, things are.
No, I don't think this is done to reinforce memory. I think it's just more the style of expression. Particularly, it comes when one brings up a particular topic that one wants to ask about, and so one repeats it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a style of the discourses.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, then maybe we can end for the day. And then remember, the next class will be two Saturdays from today. Okay, so let us end with 3 half bows to the Buddha.